3, 2, 1. Damn. My thing's not working. So let's get ready for EJ Boxing.
Hi, this is Michael
There you go.
Bumper, let's get ready for EJ Boxing Live.
There you go. Give me a round of applause. That's what I'm supposed to do. All right. So we're back at it again, man. So where we left off is Corbett is the new champion. He does beat John L. Sullivan. And, you know, obviously John L. Sullivan is not too happy about it, but, you know, you can understand why. But the new champion, the new Marquess of Queensberry rules, in effect, is bringing that in there. And Peter Jackson has lost to Jim Corbett. And so my man's looking for a new opponent. So in the meantime, he's doing plays. He's Thomas Edison, the new guy who's developing cameras. He's doing film with Thomas Edison, showing them the boxing. So he's embracing the new lifestyle, and you know what I mean. And John L. Sullivan's like the old guard, so he's embracing it, showing boxing exhibitions. In the meantime, other people are coming through. You know, other contenders are coming through. No one he really thinks can actually do him any harm in his point. So what he tends to choose to, he didn't want to. Let's see what's going on. So 1 second, let me just get this. Get me the YouTube. Actually, I doesn't even need it. What he then decides to do there is to look for a contender that not too dangerous, but to give him a bit of trouble. So then let me see, get this full screen. Okay. So then he basically looks for the light heavyweight champion. The light heavyweight champion, Bob Fitzsimmons, who's pretty from England as well, and pretty sturdy guy. Another champion to get a name, another bolster. I was thinking, well, he's a light heavyweight moving up. You know, he's a boxer. I'm heavier than him. You know, I'm heavyweight. I should be able to beat him. And also with the Irish and English, even though Fitzsimmons is Irish name, he's basically, they see him as an English guy, you know, to punish the English as well, because obviously the independence as well. So I think, you know what, I'll give the light heavyweight guy a chance. You know, I'm sure he ain't gonna do much. And he didn't think probably much of the fight. Corbett didn't think much of the fight, but as the fight ensued, as we're gonna see here, the fight turned in. So they agreed in a handshake, and so Corbett's gonna defend his belt. And this is the arena that they decide to get it on in there. It's not like obviously the big fight. So Corbett actually puts him down, and the fight is in 1897. You know what I'm saying? 1897. So Corbett actually puts Fitzsimmons down in the 6th round. But Fitzsimmons, you know, pretty sturdy guy. You know, he pretty sturdy. They weather that storm. He gets up, the referee counts, and he comes back and he throws this tremendous solo plex punch, right? As you can see, and Corbett down goes Corbett. He wasn't expecting that. That punch was a beautiful shot right there. And Corbett's down. She's holding his ribs. And I'll tell you, man, he knocked the wind completely out of his body. And Corbett couldn't meet the count. And we have a new champion of the world. And his name is Bob Fitzsimmons. Now, as you can see, there's a man on the apron over here, right? Over here. James J. Corbett, who's the sparring partner for Gentleman Jim Corbett, who was coming through, as we mentioned, who beat Peter Jackson. So he's made himself like in the #1 contendership after kind of putting himself vision. So he wanted to fight the winner anyway, but he's sparring Corbett for this fight, and you can see Corbett over the top rope over here. So he's trying to get the win back in there, and Bob Fitzsimmons is now the new champion, man. So he's over the moon, man. He's at the championship. So there he is, man. Proud. I'm the new champion of the world. And this is going to get to Undisputed. So as you know, James Jeffries is starting to getting himself into training, getting himself a shot because he's #1 contender when he beat Peter Jackson. And also actually he fought Corbett actually to get another shot. He fought Corbett coming into this fight as well. Getting himself in tremendous shape. As you can see, James Jim Corbett in tremendous shape, as you see in this picture here. He's like, boy, his body has obviously sculpted out. So they agree on the fight, and they weigh in. The weigh-in is there, and they weigh into the fight. And you can see obviously Bob Fitzsimmons with his balding hair. So Bob Fitzsimmons is the champion, and then you can see obviously James Jim Jeffries ready to go. So they've weighed themselves in. So let's get into the fight. Now we're at the fight with the handshake, and we're gonna get ready to the fight. So the fight starts, and I tell you what, Bob Fitzsimmons, because he obviously, remember, he's getting moved up, and you can see right here, you can see the English flag right here. And as you can see, right, when the fight, remember, because he did move up from lightweight champion. You know what I mean? That is, there's no cruiserweight division there. Moving up, the weight pool is different, man. And Jim Jeffries is just too strong, man. He's way too strong, heavy handed, and he proceeds to bash and beat down Bob Fitzsimmons, and becomes the new heavyweight champion of the world. And there he is, man. So America claims their belts back and that. So he's proud. He's proud. Got the belt, and let's get forward too fast. Got the belt, and what a champion he is, man. He's been undefeated champion. Haven't lost. Every man laid claim to the fight. I think he beat Fitzsimmons in a rematch, and he beat Corbett in a rematch. And after that, he said, "You know what? There's no real challenges there. There's no one else I need to fight. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna put the belt and retire. You know, I made quite a bit of money. You know, he didn't see anyone else on the horizon, but the colored champions are there, like Peter Jackson, who was the color champion. I forgot to mention, and obviously because he come from Australia as the Empire champion. They call it the Commonwealth belt now, right? He didn't get a shot at Corbett, and also with John L. Sullivan. He saw the colored champions come there battling each other, and they challenged them. He said, "I ain't," they draw the color line. We're not fighting black champions. They can stay over there. We stay over here, and we can continue. But this is how we're gonna get to the undisputed champion. Marquess and Queensberry's rules that Jim Jeffries has right now, and he also is bringing in the bare knuckle champion from General Sullivan, and he did beat Peter Jackson, so you must just say he's the Commonwealth champion as well. So basically, he's got all the titles here, and he has all the gluster, and he's retired on his stool. He's retired, and just basically gonna go back to his alfalfa farm and retire and live his life out and let the others guys. So in his stead, yeah, two of the guys, I think it's Marvin Hart and another fighter, I can't remember his name. They battled for the vacant title. He actually refereed the bout, actually got paid for it as well, being promoter, and they fought. And another guy out there called Tommy Burns challenged Marvin Hart, beat him. And then obviously people still recognize Jim Jeffries as a champion, went around the country and basically defending the belt around the world. And why he's defending the belt around the world, he's got next two challengers coming through, right? So these are the next two champions coming through for the college championship. We have over here on the left Jack Johnson, and we have here on the right Sam Lanford. Now remember these two names here. These names here. These are the best of the top best of the color championships, and both of them held the belt of the color championship. This fight actually was trying to get whoever won this fight was trying to get the winner out of Tommy Burns. And so what happened basically, this fight it ended up as a no contest, but if you look on some news report, they had Jack Johnson winning, and some news report they had Sam Lanford winning, and no one really come to claim that whoever won, but Sam Lanford stands at a mere 5'6". Jack Johnson 6'1". He's towering, and Sam Lanford actually started at lightweight, and it was an epic bout, epic contest, and backwards and forwards, and the color championships, even though people didn't recognize it, it was definitely a belt. And in the day, like I said, you wouldn't get undisputed without the color championship, who were esteemed as the best. Peter Jackson. Now you have Jack Johnson, you have Sam Lanford, you have Wills, Harry Wills as well. You have Sam McVeigh, you have Gene Jeanette, and all them guys there on that side of it. Great fight. Was it Godfrey? George Godfrey as well. They were some great, the color champions, really, really and truly were quite formidable. And these two are the top. So anyway, this no contest. So Jack Johnson, so he realized Tommy Burns has the belt. So Tommy Burns was defending the belt. I think it was at Bill Squires in Australia. And he decided to go follow him in Australia and taught him. And Bill Tommy Burns, yeah, beat Bill Squires, and Jack Johnson was there ringside. He taunted Tommy Burns so badly that Tommy Burns said, "You know what? I'm gonna give the guy a shot. This guy's annoying. I'm gonna shut him up." And it wouldn't happen in America, but in Australia, yeah, I can do him out here. And boy, and then back in America, John L. Sullivan and James Yale Corbett, they was upset, man, because they never gave no colored fighter a shot, and they kept them distant. So they agreed, man. They agreed the belt, and Tommy Burns wanted to shut him up. So Tommy Burns versus Jack Johnson, the fight has been agreed in 1903 in Sydney, Australia, in Rush Cutters Bay, and the promoter, I think the promoter of this bout, I think is it Tex Record? No, I'm not too sure. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't Tex Record at this time. Um, I can't remember the promoter's name, but I think he agreed to referee the bout. But Burns and Johnson fight is on, and as you can see right here, actually, you know what? I think John L. Sullivan, John L. Sullivan said, "Shame on you, Tommy. Shame. We're ever given a colored champion a shot." It's like they wanted the color. As far as they're concerned, the color champions over there, we stay over here. But the bottom line is that Burns recognizes that this guy's got a big mouth. I want to prove that I'm the best, and I want to challenge him. And give more credit to Tommy Burns for doing that. He got paid a lot of money, more money than Johnson, but Johnson didn't care. He wanted to lay claim and get that belt because end of the day to prove he's the best in the world. And John O'Sullivan wasn't too happy about that. Wasn't too happy about that at all. But hey, listen, that's what you have to deal with, and he has to sit there. So I mean, he still doesn't like Jim. He doesn't like Corbett, for tricking him. Kind of, he feels like he tricked him to get him a title shot for the Marquess and Queensberry rules. But John O'Sullivan, he didn't like Tommy Burns for giving Jack Johnson a shot in Rush Cutters Bay in Sydney, Australia. And let's see how that fight went, man. I see how Jack Johnson performed in that fight. He's very upset. So here you go, Rush Cutters Bay. There's the referee, and you can see already Jack Johnson is already towering over him, and he keeps peppering him with his jabs, man. And Burns couldn't do anything with it. Burns has actually had a couple of knockouts going. Like I said, he beat Bill Squires coming into the fight already. So this fight was like a couple of months later. He just couldn't do nothing with Johnson, who stands 6'1", and Burns stands at a mere 5'7". He just kept peppering him with that jab, and the crowd in Australia, and coincidentally, Peter Jackson, I think he died. I think he died not too long. I think he was maybe ringside to watch this fight. At least he get to see a black guy challenge against the champions on the other side. That's what his dream was. But Jack Johnson put himself in there because he thought Peter Jackson was he was too kind and well spoken. He wasn't aggressive enough with his thing. He believed that he people would recognize him to get a shot. But Jack Johnson was aggressively chasing, dogging it down, disrespecting Tommy Burns, and he also had his wife disrespecting him as well. His wife was white. Jack Johnson at the time was disallowed in America, most of the world, but in Australia, I don't think they wasn't too bothered about. But no one could tell Jack Johnson anything, and he proceeded to beat the out of Tommy Burns and beat him really bad. It's so badly that the fight fit that when he knocked him down, the police jumped in the ring to stop the fight footage of him a white champion, white fighter hitting the ground, and it was severe. That went back to America, and people were very upset. But it didn't matter, you know what I mean? Look, you can see just doing him dirty, peppering him, jabbing him. Burns' head is getting rocked back, and then Burns is bleeding all over the place, man. He realized, and then as we know, we have a new heavyweight champion in the world, and the first colored champion, first African American champion is Jack Johnson. What a dapper champion is it? There you go. Flashy, well-spoken, can speak many different languages. Being obviously, you can see he's well-traveled. As like I said, he's fighting, he's saved up his money. And as you can see at the bottom right here, he said, look, ready for Tommy. This is you know what I'm saying? It's the way he said the Galveston Giant. They used to call him little Arthur. All of his teeth are gold, by the way. He has gold teeth. And you can see even now, looking at how many hundreds of years that fight happened, how well dressed he was, and he was flashy like most of the like Corbett, and come from that kind of dapper near young kind of boy, a new era. This is a new wave of it, you know what I'm saying? And it's just people. The only reason the people didn't like him because he was black. I mean, if he was another color, they would have loved him. But that's the way it was, man. And Jack Johnson with the color belt, put the color belt, and becomes the world champion. But he's still not undisputed now. He's still not undisputed. Yep, he beat Tommy Burns, but the belt was vacated by Jim Jeffries. But you know what? the people at that beat, they didn't like it that they have a black champion walk around saying a black champion. So you know what they did? You know what they did? They were so disgusted. They start chasing up the former champion. Bear in mind, he's been out for like 5 years. They start chasing up the former champion, is Alfalfa Farm, Jim Jeffries, and the person who goaded him and get him out there was Jim Corbett. Jim Corbett saw he was livid that Burns gave the shot, and he was livid that Jack Johnson is now walking around saying he's a champion. But most Americans, yeah, as you saw with Michael Spinks and Mike Tyson, when Mike Tyson collected all the belts from Trevor Burbick and Tony Tucker and Bone Crusher Smith, they still consider Spinks the champion, right? Because Spinks beat Larry Holmes, and that's the way it was, right? So they still consider him as the champion. People use the word lineage, but they didn't say lineage then, so they said the champion. But lineage means the belt. You can see a line of where the champions are, right? So the championship line really ended with Jeffries when Jeffries retired. But Jim Jeffries said, "Listen, I know you can beat him. You could beat Jack Johnson. You could restore the heavyweight championship. You know, there's enough money in there." And he convinced them. And you can see Jim Jeffries with his cauliflower ears, you know, on his alpha. You can beat him. I think you can beat him, man. You can beat him. And the thing is, even though Jim Corbett and John L. Sullivan didn't like each other, they both agreed, but boy, you know, you can come out and beat this guy. You can get a lot of money and you can restore it back, boxing to back out what the glory days when we was running it. We don't know black guys running these championship. And he's a big Johnson and a big mouth now. He was talking greasy. He could, I beat Jim Jeffries, I'll beat Corbett, I'll beat John L. Sullivan, I'll beat all of you. He was talking in a way, in respect, how Muhammad Ali was, he was a champion. The same Muhammad Ali looked at Jack Johnson and the same thing. He said, I'll beat all of them. And he was talking so much so that they couldn't take it. They said, you know what? I think I'll beat him. And he was overweight, but they thought, you know what? You're undefeated. You never lost. And we can beat him. So they coached him out of retirement. And so he agreed to come out of retirement. And so there's the news clipping of the thing. There you go. Jack Johnson, yeah, clear ring tactics boasts him as a notch in the betting, while Jim Jeffries remains a puzzle to his camp. You know what I mean? So people, they know Jim Jeffries has been out for like 5 years and his body, they wonder if he can get himself in shape. So these are the camps of them getting ready, man. And Jack Johnson is ready for it. So even though he's beat Burns, and Burns with the vacant belt, he still needed claim to be that guy. You know what I mean? And Jeffries didn't really need to fight Jack Johnson, but because of the money and the lure and the prestige, he missed the kind of attention, you know. And even when he was a champion, he didn't get that kind of prestige. But this fight is drumming up. So this fight is the first, what you call it, the first fight of the century, undisputed fight of the champion. And this is why I call it the undisputed, because you have the color champion bringing all the history of the color champions, Peter Jackson, George Jeffrey, George Godfrey coming all in there, Sam Lamford, all them guys in there didn't get a shot. Jack Johnson represent all them guys there. And what Jim Jeffries represented is the Marquess of Queensberry rules, the bare knuckled John L. Sutherland, and also, you know, they did beat the Commonwealth. So this is the first undisputed heavyweight championship combines both sanctioning bodies and everything. So this is why the championship was so much, and also as a black champion, and people, they want to get the belt, bring the belt back to America, or to, should I say, the where it was before, how it was before, the lineage, how it was before. You know what I'm saying? So this is it, man. This is it, man. So Jack Johnson this is what he wanted. He wants to prove to everyone that he's the best, and there it is, man. Ready for the battle of the century. And the news clippings, Jack London, one news clip, I think he's over there. Jack London, I think he's over here, and I think that's John L. Sullivan over here, right? They're the ones that special fight section. This is in the newspaper. The bullet, and this is newspapers all over the place. The thing is, yeah, the fight, they wanted to have the fight in California. California said no, other states no, but Nevada, and where most of the fights that happen in these days in America, the world, they happen in Las Vegas, in Nevada, Reno, Nevada. And they said, yeah, fine, because, you know, in the day it was a gold mining town, and they didn't mind the attention. And everyone came down to that one. Everyone. This is the fight of the century, and bigger than John L versus gentleman Jim Corbett, John L versus Paddy, what's his name again? Paddy Ryan, bigger than John L versus Jake Kilrain, bigger than all of them. This is it, man. This is it, because you have two. I wouldn't say Jack Johnson at the time was on the feet because he got knocked out by a guy called Noah Brewski in a fight. But this is the fight of the champions, man. This is the fight of the champions. Who is going to be the undisputed champion of the world, and who is going to bring the belt back to where it is the provenance? Is Jack Johnson, the new guard, going to bring it back? And they're both, man. Jack Johnson's in his prime, and he's ready to go. Jim Jeffries, they still believe he's still got it, and any man Jim Jeffries hit, he should be able to take out. And going into the fight, that Jack Johnson said, "Man, I'm not only gonna beat him. I'm gonna prove that I'm the strongest guy. I'm gonna prove that I'm stronger. I can prove that I can outbox him, inside, outs him, whatever he wants to do. I'm better than him." And Jim Jeffries said, "We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see when we get into it." So the fight is set. The newspapers, articles, everyone's there. So the morning of the fight, there's the morning of the fight. Jim Jeffries doing his exercise, getting himself ready for the fight. There's Jack Johnson skipping. He looks in tremendous shape, real cut, lean, ready to go. And there's John L. Even though he's hating with his hating ass self, he brings himself in the morning of the fight, and they shake hands, man. And you know, the thing is, most people like Jack Johnson. He's very hard to dislike, but it's just the thing of, I think John L. had that kind of rule of when he's there, when he used to fighting black fighters, and that was it. I think he could, maybe he liked it, maybe not. But so they shook hands, and they wish hands, and he said, even though he's supporting Jim Jeffries, they said, and they're bringing boxing back, and it got a lot of people talking. You know what I mean? And it got people talking, which is good for the sport, and which is good. So that's the picture they got with Jack Johnson, and you have obviously John L. Sullivan. All right, let me see. So the next one we have over here. So remember again, yeah. Where's Corbett? Is Corbett up in this picture here somewhere? I remember in this I think Corbett's over here. There's John L. wishing Jim Jeffries, wishing him well during the fight, hoping he's gonna do well. And in the day, John L's well respected because obviously, he's another one who was a former kind of undefeated fighter. He only lost to Corbett, but people respect, and he's getting the handshake of the man. They had this saying back then: the man who shook the hand, the man who shook the hand, the man who beat the man who beat the man. And that's where it came from. Tyson Fury uses that saying, but that's what it was said. That's what was said back then. The man who beat the man who beat the man, that started from John L. Sullivan to Corbett to Bob Fitzsimmons to Gentleman Jim Jeffries, and that's where the line is at the minute, where they feel Jim Jeffries is the real champion and he's gonna go prove it. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it came into the fight. So we're gonna get into the next one. So we're moving on, and there's the poster for the fight, and where everyone's licking their lips, man. Everyone's ready for that. So he's been announced. I'm not sure what the name is. There's one of the sparring partners or one of the chief seconds for Jack Johnson in the corner there. So this guy over here, that's Jim Jeffries. No, that's Jim Corbett over here. He's obviously with Jim Jeffries supporting him, and they've got a great crowd in Reno, Nevada. And I'll tell you, they're looking for epic. People are looking for an epic fight. And you see that back in the days, I think it was scheduled for like 50 something rounds or something like that. Mad rounds are set for, and so it's being announced by the ring announcer. There he goes, ring announce, introducing Jim Jeffries, the VARs they consider the real heavyweight champion, ready to go. You see his hands there. This is before they got the gloves on. You see how they got the hand wraps? They got little stuff in there with the hand wraps, and they got this what they call a sachet around their waist, and so we're going to get into it, man. We're going to get ready for the fight of the century for the Undisputed Heavyweight Championships. There you go, Jim Jeffrey. They got the picture. In these days, technology, they can put the colors. You got more accents. So there you go. All right. So the fight is set in July the 4th, 1910. Jim Jeffries versus Jack Johnson. And Tex Rickard, the promoter of the fight, of the event, he actually couldn't get no one else. So he decided that he would referee the fight. And there you go, these guys square off, and we're gonna see how the fight transpired. And there's another look from the clan. I think they got the was it a Bull Rush? I think that's where it was. Was it Bull Durham? I think that might be one of the sponsors there. The crowd at the ringside there, you can see at Reno on July the 4th, and they brought in a crowd, man. They brought in a crowd like the olden days, and you see obviously with the Marquess of Queensberry rules now. You have the ropes around the outside, and as you see in the modern day and stuff like that. You have the referee in there, and boxing them days, they still kind of like boxed in a certain pace because it was so many rounds. So they didn't really try to go in it. They don't just take their time. So it was a slow day. It's hot, really hot. You know what I mean? But Jack Johnson's in tremendous shape. Jim Jeffries, well, he's in good shape. He lost the weight now, but he ain't fought for a while. And I think Jim Jeffries is the type of guy, even in his prime, he needs someone in front of him to hit or, to wear out. But Jack Johnson is in tremendous shape, ready for this fight. So, as the fight transpires, you can see them just looking at Jack Johnson and started talking to him, which no one's ever did it to Jim Jeffries. Start talking to him and goading him. Why? This is during the fight. And why he's hitting Jim Jeffries, he's talking down to Corbett. Say, you're next, Mr. Corbett. I mean, no one's ever seen that before, but he's enraging everyone. And he's just there, he's just peppering. And you see, even though what's his name? Jeffries is in great shape. Listen, he ain't ready for Jack. So ain't never seen nothing like him. He's a fighting machine and everything. Uppercuts, he's throwing in jabs, he's putting them all in. He's putting all the combination in, just taking his time, just chipping away. And Jeffries is starting to realize it's getting a bit too far. And Johnson realized that Jeffries is ready to go, man. He's ready to go. And this is a great picture in color, by the way. And Jeffries realizes that he's getting tired, and Johnson realized he ain't gonna let it go to the cars now. He's not gonna let it go to the scorecards, getting decision. And Jeffries put a last muster of a couple of punches together in the 5th round. And this is where I said Johnson said he ties him up and he's trying to prove how strong he was. He just weared him down inside. There's a lot of holding and stuff in the fighting back then. He kept wearing him down, little short shots in there, on the holding. Like I think he moved from his hand there, he moved it and threw a little left uppercut up there, right hook round the side and stuff like that. And Jeffries, he wasn't used to that, man. Everything Jeffries fought at that point, them guys there, he could have his way. Look at that, he's trying to muscle Johnson and everything he's trying. You can see Johnson holding his ground, and finally he wore out, and Johnson threw a good combination, good couple of right hands, and Jeffries is down for the first time in his career. And the absolute shock of the crowd around ringside, absolutely deafening. And they couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe their hero's gone, man. But listen, the color champions, man, they ain't no joke. He's down, boy. He's down. And the shock, this absolute shock of the fans and everyone around ringside. Look at that. He can't even believe it himself. His face is battered, bleeding. There's the women, everyone's there. I think this might be Johnson's wife over here. She was watching as well. I mean, she's the only woman there. So I think Johnson's wife, he had his manager over there, is probably protecting her. But Jeffries is down, finally down, and the championship is fading out. The line of the old champions game. We look like we're gonna have a new undisputed champion over here. I think this is where they do the filming as well. They do the filming, the film guys. Where Thomas Edison was doing the film with J. Corbett, and he wins the belt, man. And we have a new undisputed champion, and his name is Jack Johnson. Brings all the glory, the first undisputed heavyweight champion, and with all the glory. And that's the belt that they actually awarded him in the fight. And they see the ring. He obviously couldn't celebrate in the ring now. So, this is later on in the morning, the next day, they celebrate him with the belt. And the news gets back, to where he's from, Chicago, gets back from where he is. And people they were angry. There was riots. Yeah, and some people, I heard there was lynching. People angry that he won the belt, man. But there's nothing they can do about it, man. He won an American soul, and he is the new undisputed heavyweight champion, and he's more bragging than ever. So what they do at this point, why he's the champion, they try and do these things. They try and use laws, try and do these laws on him. There's the belt. He looks glorious. There's the glorious world championship belt there. They used to wear the sash around the waist. So that is to show he's the champion. They bring this law in, yeah. They bring these laws in it because Johnson used to hang around with all these women, prostitutes, you call them. He said, sleep with a lot of women, when he used to, and he bring them out. So what they trying to do, the FBI, they find one of these women. They trying to tell the women to press charges against, say he did that, so they can take the belt off him that way. And what he does inside, so the woman tells him they won't press charges. Then Johnson smartly decides, actually see Johnson driving his car, and they see him celebrating, by the way, actually. see him celebrating himself and enjoying himself with his cigar and stuff like that. He's living his life. So he decides when the FBI try to tell one of these women, yeah, that they want him to testify against him, she decides to marry her. He does. There's Johnson and his mom, and there's Etia, that's his wife. I think her name was Etia. They decide to marry her. There's her mom, and there's the pastor right there, and they decide to marry because if you're married, they can't prosecute you, which is true. They can't do anything about it. But the FBI, they were going after him. They really wanted him out of there, man. There's nothing. They said they couldn't beat him in the ring, so they trying to destroy him outside the ring. So he gets married, and so they couldn't do that. So we'll continue the story of Jack Johnson. So he looks married with his wife, but the story of Jack Johnson is not over, man. So, like I said, man, Jack Johnson is the new undisputed heavyweight champion, and we're going to continue the saga of what happened to Jack Johnson and the lineage of the undisputed heavyweight championship. So he's the first undisputed championship, and congratulations to Jack Johnson. I hope you guys enjoyed this little historical thing. So the belt from Bob Fitzsimmons to James Jim Corbett to now Jack Johnson, the undisputed championship. He beat Tommy Burns, who got the vacant belt, and now he beat the actual champion Jim Jeffries, who when he came out of retirement as well. So all the glory goes to Jack Johnson, and he has the belt right now. And even though the FBI are after him right now, he's sitting pretty right now. So hope you guys enjoyed this little historical run, and I'm gonna do the rest of them and see what happened to Jack Johnson and see where that went. So hope you guys appreciate that, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.